What is going on, guys? Dr. Lighten94 back here with another video, and today we are here to talk about MLB The Show 20 and the newest Diamond Dynasty content stream. And let me tell you guys, it was absolutely balls to the wall amazing. And today, to discuss with me, I have a very, very special guest, good friend of mine from the community, the leader of my new stream/competitive gaming team, Young Guns MLB. I would like to welcome you all. Here is Like a Bus from the MLB community. Hello, Bus. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so DD stream was absolutely insane. I thought it was going to be even longer than it ended up being, and they just covered so much. I think we're all just kind of in a state of shock right now.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it at this point. I'm surprised it only went an hour and a half, to be honest.
Same here. But it
Um,
just... Can you even put a word into what just happened?
I, I feel like there's no one word to describe it, you know? I mean, they they revealed so incredibly much, like you don't even know where to start or what to do or anything.
Exactly, I completely agree. It's just like, I was going in, expecting a couple new rounds of cards, revamped everything from last year with the reward path and everything. I was basically expecting last year, like, revamped and remodeled for this year, but they just went and took that and
Hmm.
did so much more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what else to say to that.
I mean, yeah, it's... Yeah, exactly. Everybody... I've talked to like 5 people, and all of us are exactly how you and I are right now. It's just like,
Hmm.
where do you even start night one? Because you could start with moments, get a couple cards from that. You can start with the showdown, get a couple cards from that, which also, little known thing that nobody noticed, at the end of the showdown, the starter one, you get the gold Brett Saberhagen.
I did see that.
So nobody was really talking about that, so that's good
Yeah.
because he's
Well, I mean that's just a beginner showdown, so I mean it's not.
right. But I
It,
mean that
it, it's one of those cards. I mean, kind of like a Tim Tebow. Even it's kind of like one of those gold day one cards that'll be nice to have, but they're not going to last for that long.
right. It's
So,
just like your. It's not a bad gold, but it's not amazing either. But again, it's
mhm.
day one, so what do you expect?
Yeah.
Um,
Personally, every year the first thing I usually do is Conquest. Um, and I mean the Conquest rewards were so good in 17. It's been kind of frustrating with how they were the past 2 years. I understand that they don't want to give people crazy cards, but um, I hope that I noticed Maze is going to be the first war, and they said many more wars. So I hope I can build like an entire team out of that mode, like I was able to in kind of previous games. Because I mean, 17 conquest just by playing that. I mean, you got a diamond. I don't know if you played 17, but you got two diamond starting pitchers out of it. You got Reggie Jackson was the final reward, 94 Reggie, and that card was on my team for a long time. Um, I think you got even two other. I think got Matt Holliday and I can't remember Curtis Randerson, I think. So I mean, those you got basically 5 diamonds from doing that. I want kind of want to see more from Conquest, but that's usually the first thing I always do every year. Just kind of like a nice way to jumpstart my team, if you will.
right. Which I agree. I'm wondering if that's going to be the 87 maze from last year or if it's going to be a new version, because they also
Hmm.
had a new bronze version in that first XP pack, which of course we're probably going to get almost instantly.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I was thinking that same thing. I mean, I'm not. I never really used that 87 maze. I never because the stats against righties weren't that good. So I kind of hope it is a new maze. I don't know
Right, and that
what
was
stats they'll go to.
that was kind of before they
Hmm,
revamped moments and they were all really difficult.
yeah. Um, But then I remember last year the original Conquest was Ty Cobb. But that wasn't he didn't have power, but it wasn't necessarily a bad card because I mean it was a solid card that could hit both sides, righties and lefties. I just I don't know if Mays is really going to provide like that because of course I'd rather have a guy that can hit righties compared to lefties. So I
Right.
don't know. I hope it's
That's
a good Mays card.
I'm thinking it will probably be like I it's obviously it's not going to be like his prime or signature
Of
series
course
or
not.
whatever he's going to get, which I can't even with that. That's a whole nother long debate on who's going to get what. But um I'm thinking that he will probably get, since it's Willie Mays and everybody's kind of hyped for him, he'll probably get like maybe an 89 to a 90 that has, let's say,
Hmm
80 to 90s across the board with his trademark good defense and high
That
speed.
well, in 80 to 90s across the speed though, that across the board. I mean, for a center fielder, I'd probably get him up to a 95, 96. I don't feel like they jack his hitting stats that much because his really good fielding, really drives up his overall. So that's why a card like his 87 from last year, he didn't have the greatest hitting stats, but he was still an 87 because of his fielding, which is something
Right.
that they I know they stress fielding for different positions. So, for example, fielding is going to be stressed for a position like first base, but a position like center field, that's really going to shoot up someone's overall.
Right. So I'm thinking, given that you just pointed out, I'm thinking maybe a breakout card with high contact, middle of the road power, and of course the defense and the speed.
Mhm.
Which I mean,
Maybe.
honestly, for day one, that would be an amazing center fielder.
And they did say there'd be more rewards to it. So, I mean, I hope we can get a few more diamonds.
I mean,
Last year, all we got was Ty Cobb and a big sexy, which wasn't really useful anywhere.
right. I mean, but it
Um,
is Bartolo. You can't
it
deny the
is big
meme.
sexy, of course. Yeah.
Oh, I am
Um,
sad. I think he's finally out of the game this year, and it just is
oh,
depressing.
that's sad.
I mean, because he hasn't officially retired, but he's now been out a year and a half. So,
Speaking of retiring, completely unrelated news, I just read something that Ben Zobrist retired.
uh,
Um,
yeah, he's kind of unofficially retired, which also sucks because I
Cubs
kept.
legend Ben Zobrist.
I mean, yeah, but also think of how goon his signature series card would have been.
Hmm
I mean,
He
that
did
would
not get a signature series last year, did he?
no, and like think
Um,
that thing would be like a defensive machine that could play everywhere. It'd be like your,
yeah.
it'd be
Well,
amazing.
his 87 card was really good though. I believe it was it the Rays Affinity, I think.
Yeah,
Um, because I mean, yeah, super utility guy, just about mid 70s the hitting stats on everything. I think I saw a few people using him in ESL, not much, but I mean, yeah, that was definitely a beast of a card. I mean, I guess for a guy like Zobrist, I don't know how you can really make a signature for him. Like, what more could you go up from there? Because that's about what Zobrist is going to give you, I guess. But
right. But my point is, Ben Zobrist, I love those type of players because while they are not mind-blowingly amazing at any one thing, they can excel
hmm
at many different things, which makes them
yeah,
just as valuable, if not even more than some of the others.
hmm they're just kind of like above average at everything. They
Right.
don't, like
Even
you
if
said, nothing blows you away, but they get the job done for you.
correct.
Um, but anyway, back on topic of the DD stream. So we talked about Conquest. Um, there's still so much more to talk about. So what do you want to talk about next?
Well, since we're on the topic, team affinities. Like,
Okay.
holy smokes. Like, I liked team affinities last year. They were, if you just went and quickly got them all done at the beginning of the
hmm
year, you could build a solid team out of those.
You could, but again, I stress the fact you said beginning of the year because those were all. I mean, the only card that came even close to being an end game card was that 87 Zach Britton.
Right.
And even then 89 came out, and then you kind of saw people using both because the 87 had a little better velo, so people preferred the 87 over the
But the
89. But
but the
that's
89
really the
had
only
the
card people
insane
still
per
use.
nines, right?
Yeah.
So, but here's my point back at that is the fact they went and specifically have changed team affinities to where,
You.
hey Kreiner, I'm recording a video right now.
Hey, Kreiner.
Have specifically changed team affinities to where they say the cards right now are going to be similar to last year's, but there are more cards coming that are going to last through the year, and I love that.
I think the whole face of the franchise thing was really interesting.
Right.
I'm kind of surprised Soto's in only in '89, to be honest.
Right.
I think they could really jack him up a bit more.
Right.
But I think that whole face of the franchise thing is a really cool idea. I'm just curious, is I was thinking about the Reds' face of the franchise. You know, their face of the franchise for the past 10 years has been Joey Votto, but he's on the decline a little bit. So would they still consider him as quote unquote face of the franchise, or are they looking for new guys who will be producing for the next 10 years, like a Suarez maybe? So I'm a little like, would Miguel Cabrera be the Tigers' face of the franchise card too? Is another way to put it. You know.
Right.
So I'm a little interested, like, what their definition is on that.
I think specifically where they're going with that, given what we saw, if I had to guess, you have your signature series and your primes for like the older guys like the Vados and the Miggies of the world. And then you have your prospect cards for like the young guns coming up. No pun intended. But then these faces of the franchise are these guys like the Juan Sotos and the Blake Snells and the Miguel Andahars of the world.
That's what I was guessing it was going to be more of, because I mean the 3 cards we saw today were Juan Soto, Blake Snell, and Byron Buxton.
Right. They're the upcoming face of the franchise.
Although Buxton seems to be kind of a bust a bit.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Snell, of course. I mean, he had a crazy 2018 season.
Right. That Snell's gonna be nasty.
We know what he has. Did they say they refined his delivery too to make it even more nastier?
They gave him.
I believe they said that.
I believe what they said was they lowered his arm slot, and think how bad he was beforehand. Now he's throwing 3/4 sidearm. And think with that velo and that movement, if you can locate your pitches, he could easily last through the first couple months at least.
I gotta say though, I do love the prospect that they threw in with him.
Right.
As well.
I am liking the prospect cards. I love that idea because.
Did you get my joke? The prospect that they threw in with Blake Snell at the 25. You know, the very slap prospect. You know. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Oh goodness. But I'm just wondering if they're already putting 89s and 90s in now. Are we eventually gonna get a 99 through Team Affinity, or are they gonna make more faces of the franchise? Like the farther up you go, the higher overall, and the longer that person was the face of the franchise?
Well, they said in the stream, they're like, well, we listened to your guys' feedback, and you guys wanted better Team Affinity cards. My apologies. My mic just died for some reason.
Yeah, I gathered. It's fine.
I talked for like 30 seconds, and I got no response, and I looked at my phone and realized I disconnected from chat.
Right, I was saying that they have provided, at least in the first round, of the better-looking Team Affinity cards.
So what's the last thing you heard me say before I cut out?
You were saying that... I don't know, it was right after you were saying they were gonna say that they were making better Team Affinity cards. They heard you guys.
Oh, God, I went on for a long time then before I realized I cut out.
You've been gone for a solid minute and a half.
Oh, God, okay. So I was confused because I spoke for a while, never got a response. So I looked at my phone. So I was trying to say with that, like, of course, the problem last year was Team Affinities weren't that good. So they said, like, we're going to try to make them mean more this year. So I was a little confused when the first thing we saw was an 89 one. You know, is that all that they're going to give us? So, and then they kind of went on to say, well, here's all these other cards that are like, well, not really cards, but what's coming in the future. So I don't know if that end result will be your Joey Votto or your Miguel Cabrera or something, but it's something that we're just going to have to wait and see how it kind of plays out, you know?
Right. And the other thing that's kind of, it's not so much a bad thing as kind of a frustrating thing for the type of player I am, where I like to get everything possible done, is the
I'm the same
fact,
way.
right, we're going to have, they said, maybe 2 or 3 weeks to finish all these first affinities before they drop the second half.
I must have missed them saying that.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
because, it said stage 2 coming in the spring. Well, the spring is coming, so I'm thinking probably about opening day. And opening day
Yeah.
is 3 weeks away.
Well, it's kind of a challenge for me too, because now I've just been kind of trying to think. Like, I've grinded the absolute living hell out of the past 2 games, mostly because this is one of my only hobbies in life, really, and
Same
I just
here.
like,
Same here.
I just like playing this game. But I mean, I'm gonna be a senior in high school. I've got college coming up and stuff. I just don't know the time. I don't know how much time I'll be able to put into this game compared to what I have in the past.
Right.
Um,
And see, here.
and so, I mean, I've always been that kind of perfectionist 100%. I want to get every card in the game.
Right.
I almost finished every single moment last year. The only reason I didn't finish every single moment was because I didn't feel like doing the last moments extreme. So I don't know how I'm going to be able to do that this year. I mean, I do have an entire spring break where I'm doing basically nothing right after the game comes out, so I'm definitely going to enjoy that.
Right, but that's short term, not long.
It is, yeah.
So it honestly will depend on how much of the content percentage wise I think comes out over the summer,
Hmm.
because that's when we're all going to have time. But the other thing to think about here is, you and I, at least, always go round and round with the debate of why spend money on the game when you can make stubs on your own, right?
Hmm.
So the the main reason I ever have spent money on the game, because I realize I'm good enough I could just as easily make the stubs myself the long way around, is because it's the long way around and I don't have that
Hmm.
kind of time. So as somebody, I was watching somebody on stream a few months ago and they were saying, it may sound ridiculous and stupid to some of you that I spend so much money, but in my eyes, my time is my money, and since I don't have as much time to grind, yet I want to enjoy the game as much as the other person, time is money to me. So if spending a little money
Hmm.
can enrich my experience with playing this game that I love, what's the absolute harm in it if it does not affect me financially?
I mean, yeah, it's more of a personal thing in that case because I mean, again, me personally, it kind of does affect me financially because I have a lot of stuff coming up in my life, college, I need a car soon, all this kind of stuff that I need money for. I can't really afford to be dropping $500 on stubs in the game. Then again, I might be in a bit of a different boat than other people because I can make a World Series quickly and quickly sell those rewards, maybe go 12-0 in BR, while other people are going to have to get stubs through lucky pools and packs or grinding moments or something, just bit by bit. So I feel like it's a bit of a different boat for the better players, the guys I can like Quash, I can go 12-0 in BR in their sleep.
Right.
Um,
Which Quash is just
but
absolutely creaming his pants over BR being revamped.
yeah, right. I mean, I hope because BR has always been a frustrating mode for me. The fact that
Right.
it's been on All Star.
Right.
Um,
And it's still on All Star, but this way, it's not so much dependent on the hitting. It
mhm.
makes the mechanics that much
I mean,
different.
I genuinely, and I don't know how much I can talk about the beta, but screw it. Um, I didn't get a chance to play an All Star in the beta, but Hall of Fame felt like Legend in the beta. I'll say that. So I
Yeah.
hope All Star feels like Hall of Fame in
Right.
this next game, because I was like at least make BR Hoff, but if they made everything harder, which I hope they did, I won't be too mad at it. Um, just as
See,
long as it's always been a frustration for me playing BR because like I feel like on All-Star, your PCI should not be that big. My my PCI should not be this big with Clayton Kershaw. It shouldn't cover the entire width of the strike zone with Clayton Kershaw, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So it just I always felt like All-Star is just ridiculous, and that's why I've always just strayed away from VR.
Right. Which I mean, I get that. And until this latter point in the year, I didn't get that because I was always an all-star level player myself. Now I'm more of a Hoff player. At least me personally. Because I have made that step, I feel, from being to where all-star was easy to me to where Hoff, while not necessarily super easy to me, when I get warmed up, I can start hitting on it and at least be competitive. And you
Yeah,
want the higher level because
I want everything on Legend, baby.
yes, but here's the key about that. I don't think it is so much that SDS is against that so much as they have to keep the general population happy.
I understand that. I understand that. But I feel like one of the biggest things that they could do, I mean, they didn't really address it. I just hope that they do it. Just make, well, what is it? Wildcard that we started? Make that Hall of Fame at least, so that us top level players don't have to play on All Star.
Right.
So that the lower level players still get what they want, but we
Right.
don't have to play on that difficulty. Or I've always believed that they should make Championship Series Legend as well, because I've always believed you should have to play on the hardest difficulty in order to get the highest division of online play. But
Right, but
I'd be
that's
willing to
less
sacrifice that if
right.
they just.
That's less
I'd be
debatable
willing to
than the
sacrifice
All-Star.
that if they just make Wild Card Hall of Fame. That's all I really want.
I will agree there because getting to 500 is very very easy if you put in the time and just hit.
Well, I mean, in my opinion, getting the World Series is very, very easy if you just play enough games.
Right, which
I know that's a bit of a controversial opinion, but I mean, I feel like if it takes you 200 games to reach World Series, you shouldn't be able to reach the highest division of online play. But that's, again, just my opinion.
correct. So, here is the interesting thing out of all that. They were talking about ranked, but they didn't go like super in depth. But they were talking about how they kind of revamped the system. So, could that be possibly one of the included changes?
I didn't notice they said they revamped the system. Like, did they add anything to that? I didn't.
I mean, they
I
said
never caught that.
they said if you looked at the bottom, they revamped the rewards, and I could have it may have been referring to something else, but I could have sworn that they had mentioned that there were a couple surprises waiting. So I don't know. It's likely that it hasn't changed, yet at the same time, there might be that tiny possibility.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it though, because I mean, one of the big frustrations for everyone was there's just no incentive to play past 900, and I was hoping this year they'd at least add some cards because a 20-pack bundle isn't enough for me to want to get the 1200 rating. You know,
Right.
I've always wanted some kind of card. You know that I mean, put it on the market. Make it go for 600,000 subs for all I care. I just want something there that gives me an incentive to push for it. And sure, the nameplate is cool, and I know Kreiner's going to lose his mind over that nameplate.
I mean, yeah,
But
he's
that's just cosmetic, you
right.
know. And I mean, I consider myself to be a pretty good player, but I've only gotten that nameplate once because I've only tried for it once. I don't care enough, and I think this year with a lot of top players, including myself, once we hit World Series, we're going to go play leagues.
Right.
I feel like that's just more fun to do with friends, and you have people are going to be doing money leagues, you know, and you can actually you can win something from these leagues where there's really no incentive to play ranked seasons. So I feel like my time is spent better elsewhere.
Right. See, here's what at least I think they should do, at least in the interim till they figure out a perfect solution. You could take all those pack bundles you have up there and say it. I'm not sure if they should put it at 1200 because that is like pitching rebel territory. But maybe at 1000 or 1100, which again, very, very, very few people get to even 1000. I mean, it's probably mostly the top 50. Maybe
Top 50, I'd say, is about 1,050, maybe.
right, but I'm saying that's about all that makes it up there. That's
Hmm.
And I'm sure if they tried, it could get higher, but I just don't. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the barrier, is that 1050, 1100 mark, just because points move so slow after that point.
Hmm.
But I'm thinking what they should do is maybe have the 12-0 pack be a 12-0 slash 1000 or 1100 rating World Series pack, because
Okay.
one is just as rare as the other, yet they both hold rare, valuable cards
Not
that
a bad idea,
that
actually.
go for extremely high stub amounts. So even if you don't get that
Hmm.
card you're talking about, because an exclusive card for that high would be very frustrating for the rest of us, but you all would get that giant stub boost or a very rare card nonetheless. So
Hmm.
it seems like
I
a
don't
win-win.
I don't see that happening this year, though. I mean, maybe in
I
21,
mean,
but they've already revealed it. I don't think it's going to happen at this point.
I don't
Um,
think it's going to happen either. It's just an idea that just popped in my head.
and with the BR and ranked season rewards, I think for the beginning of the year, I think we're going to see the same thing that we saw at the beginning of last year. I don't know if you remember, but before they added to the BR reward system for about the first month and a half of those cards only went from maybe 60 or 70K once everyone started getting them. Those five original cards, the
Right.
non-signature kind of maybe 91 diamonds.
Which is
They're
usually
you're
what
not
you
going to
start
go.
out with.
Yeah, but they're not going to go for that much a few weeks into a game once everyone starts going 12-0. I mean,
Right.
sure they're going to add more to it, of course, but as of right now, that's not a huge stub increase to go 12-0. I mean, of course, now you look at 19 BR and every single card goes for about 800,000 stubs, but
Right.
um,
And here's what's extra mind-blowing to me is they besides the fact they made the silver plus BR permanent, which I love that fact.
I
That
do love
was
that.
one of the best changes they have ever made.
Yeah, they every year, 17, 18, and 19, they've always waited until halfway through the year to make that change. So it is interesting they're going with that. They basically roll it out the start of the year.
Right.
Um, yeah, I mean it's something they've always done, but interesting to see they're starting it off this early.
Right. But here's my point with that. Everybody remembers how Mike Trout got under 100K last year.
Hmm.
I think cards in general are going to be even cheaper this year because there are even more ways to make stubs. You not only have moments, you have showdowns, you have leagues, you have March to October, you have ranked seasons, you have
But
conquest.
at the same time, I feel like that drives the demand up too. So it's
Possibly, but
I don't really know how to judge the market anymore because every time I think there's going to be a crash in the market, the prices go up for some unexplained reason. So
right.
I don't really know how to judge it anymore at this point. I never know what's going to happen.
And it's
So
even harder with having such a large variety of cards inserted.
hmm.
Because here's the other thing, it is possible demand might go up, but even if demand goes up, is that really going to. Are the prices really going to be affected by supply and demand because there's so many cards to split your stubs into?
I mean, again, it's something that I can't judge. This isn't really a normal market, if you know what I mean, like a normal stock market.
Right.
So I felt like going into things, I predicted stuff correctly, and then it comes out and I butchered my prediction, and it's the complete opposite of what I thought was going to happen, and I just lost everyone tons of stubs. So I I just don't know anymore, to be completely honest.
Me either. I
Um,
mean, about the only thing to bank on making stubs is roster updates.
hmm.
And, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with those either because I'm thinking that live series cards with all these different new types of cards are going to crash faster than they ever have. I'm thinking,
Well,
and
I mean, we'll have to see because every year in MLB the show, all those golds that are 1,000 stubs right now, they start off about 15K.
I
I mean,
know
yeah, Gary Sanchez, a guy with so much power, he's going to be 15, 20K. Cody Bellinger last year, I think, was a gold at the beginning of the year, as hard as that may be,
he
too.
was an 81
He was an 81, yeah.
and he
So he
went
went up
to
like
a
what 12?
93, I
Yeah.
think.
So I mean, he has about 20K to start off the year, you know. So some of those golds are going to go for a lot of stubs, and especially those 5K diamonds you see now, they're going for 50K at one point. So
Right.
it's just the market's always high at the beginning of the year. For about the first month, all those live series diamonds are going to be high. They will go down, but it's going to be high.
Right. But the good news about that is it's so easy to get stubs no matter which way, shape, or form this year. You
Hmm.
can effectively work around that if you just put your hours in every night.
Now it's a big if though, because again, like you're saying, some people don't have the time to do that.
And the other thing is, which I feel is very, very, very controversial in the community, is the when you lock in your collection, you lock in your collection.
They did say this year that you can't quick sell those cards,
Correct.
which that I'm interested to see how that plays out because I've always done that. I do the live series collections every year, and yet I don't have a single live series diamond in my inventory because I quick sell them all.
Right.
Um,
You quick sell all the diamonds and the golds. It's just
yeah.
standard procedure.
So, I wonder how that would play into the market. I mean,
Right, but
I'm interested. You know.
I mean, I am too, but I don't think it's as big a deal as people are making it because you're going to have so many stubs and cards to collect from other things. Live series collections are just kind of be a side bonus this year in my opinion.
They're just kind of there to get that big 99 collection award, which I'm gonna call now as Mickey Mantle. But
Right, but
we'll have to see.
that's going to be really interesting to see since Mickey Mantle's already in that pre-order pack.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure they'd drop him completely night one, or at least not his full version.
Well, the past 2 years, the collection award has been a new legend. I think
Right.
17 was Ted Williams, which I'm pretty sure he was in 16. 18 was Vlad. 19 was Mays. So I feel like it's going to be another one of the new legends. That's kind of the trend it seems like they're going with. So
Right.
I don't see them doing a pitcher in Mariano Rivera.
Right. No.
Maybe it's the AL, but even then, I feel like that'd be juiced.
If Mo was gonna be in the collections, he'd probably be like the AL East collection, and have like a 90 something version.
Okay, but he'd still have to get a better version later in the year
Well,
because they
yeah.
can't give him a straight 99 his best version in AL East collection.
Right, but I wasn't saying it was gonna be the 99. I'm just saying it was gonna be
Hmm.
better than the pre-order pack. Because Mariano could have theoretically like 15 different 99 cards.
Yeah, honestly.
Honestly.
I mean, just a postseason card for him. I mean, of course he'll
Right.
get a signature or whatever. Any of the new 99 cards that they release today, but I mean, just postseason. A
Right.
postseason for any year you could give him, and man,
Right. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But as much as people are screaming L on this, I'm also thinking if you just put your time in with how much content there is, because you are going to be
screaming L on
overwhelmed
what?
on the collection lock-in.
Oh, okay.
If you just put in your time and make that just kind of something you're doing on the side, you're not going to even notice it,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. You're really not. Because
We'll have to see.
the other thing I'm hypothesizing is, in the team affinities they had those live series team packs, right?
Yes.
Those started at bronze and silvers. So I'm thinking if it's bronze and silvers now, silvers and golds next time, possibly golds and diamonds in the late summer, early fall section,
Maybe.
because that would be, of course, the time when diamonds are already really cheap, so it wouldn't really harm anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're looking at that, you could just grind out your team affinities and boom, have the entire collection for practically nothing.
Um, Sorry, I felt like I was gonna sneeze for a second, and it just never came.
That's okay.
I hate that feeling. Um, yeah, we'll just have to see again.
There's just too much to speculate on right now because
Hmm.
you could tell they left so much more hanging. Like they didn't even go all the way up the
They
XP
they
path.
did say at the very end, I did catch this where they said that they have something hidden. They said like, did you catch that?
Right.
They said that they have something hidden, like something really big that we'll find out.
Like
So
really new legend, extraordinarily big.
I'm wondering. I mean, I don't think they'd screw up and do a Pepe Alvazar all over again, but
No,
is
but
it something on that like something crazy grindy like that, you know? Or like
I'm not so
where like it was like a huge secret in the game.
right, and I'm not even so sure that it'd be like a grindy type anymore. But like, what else? Literally, what else could they add? Like,
Hmm.
is it a new legend? Is it the collection reward? Is the collection reward not Mickey Mantle? If not Mickey Mantle, who the heck is it?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out eventually what they meant by that, but
Right.
you know, so someone will find it.
Oh, somebody always does.
I still can't believe Pepe Alvar was discovered in like the middle of May in MLB 17. He he came out and everyone's like, "What in the world is this?"
Yeah. I
Um,
I wish I had known what Diamond Dynasty was back in those days. I just never got into it because I wasn't that type of gamer then.
mhm.
But you
um,
want to know one thing I saw on stream that really excited me, but at the same time it's very underrated, and with all the new cards it's probably not going to be that effective that long, but at the same time it just pumped me. The
what?
the fact that there are 3 gold left-handed relievers in that opening gold choice pack.
I did not catch that. Who were they?
It was John Franco, whatever the new one
Was this
was.
a silver pack?
It was
I remember seeing John Franco in the silver
okay. It
pack.
might have been the silver pack, not the gold, but it was John Franco, Vita
So
Blue,
are you
which
saying we possibly have another Chris Sale on our hands?
with Vita Blue I think we will. Did you see the stats on that Vita Blue card?
Yes, I did.
That thing's gonna be goon.
That card. Because I know you didn't play 17, but Vida was probably the best pitcher in 17, at least in my opinion. His changeup was one of the most nastiest pitches I have ever seen besides a knuckleball. Of course, we don't count the knuckleball, but
No knuckleball cheese.
um,
But
but anyway, I feel like we should get more on topic of like some of the other content that they released today, like just program wise or
right,
um.
programs. Oh gosh, we haven't even covered red diamonds.
I was
I'm
when they first said red diamonds, we were talking about it in the Young Guns Discord a bit. I was very skeptical and I was a bit confused because I feel like everyone's kind of got that fear that they're going to give us immortals all over again. Um,
right.
and my biggest when they announced Signature Series in 19, my first reaction was this is immortals. Um, and especially in the pre-release stream when the only Signature Series cards that they showed us were 99s. The only Signature Series cards we saw in the pre-release stream, I think, were the 5 XP reward guys, and the 5 of those guys were all 99s.
Right.
Of course, that's not how it played out, and we got so much variety in those cards. And signatures went all the way down to an 88 Rick Ankiel. I don't know how he got a Signature Series card, but
I
um,
don't know how he got a signature series in not a single year.
yeah.
Like, where was the hitter Rick Ankiel?
But I mean, I'm just saying. Of course, Signature Series did not play out like that. That was my fear. It didn't play out like that. So I saw Red Diamonds, and I think my first impression was, are they going to do it again? I feel like SDS has learned their lesson from this, but
I think they really have.
they can't do it like the best one player at a position because that's what Immortals were. They
Right.
can't, and I don't care how grindy you made it. I don't think they when they did Immortals in MLB 18, I don't think they realized that everyone would grind for them, if you know what I mean. They thought, okay, people might have 1, 2, or 3 Immortals, and then they'll look to some of these other cards because they don't want to grind that much. They didn't expect guys like me to grind every single one of them,
Right.
and basically just everyone to have everyone. So
Well, I mean,
they did not anticipate that. I feel like they learned their lesson from that.
right. But at the same time,
Um,
I can understand how they misjudged that because that was an
yeah,
insane amount of grinding.
I definitely, I think every year they underestimate how much people are willing to grind the game, and like I said, they didn't anticipate that to happen like it did. So I don't necessarily blame them. And there was, we were all critiquing them for those stupid like 92 overall cards they released. You know, halfway through the game, but there was just nothing really they could do at that point because they already dug themselves so much of a hole that they couldn't get out of it. You
Right.
know, um, so I am, and I at least because I was skeptical of the Red Diamonds, but I'm happy to see that they added so many more um, versions of cards. Like the Prime cards are back. I love those award cards that they added. They
Right.
have different kinds of those multi-year cards.
Right. I mean,
Even though the award cards are single year,
they
but
you. I know you are thrilled about this because just the other day you were telling me all about how you wish that single year cards mattered again. But if you look
mm-hmm,
at it, this perfects everybody's opinion. You have your signature
mm-hmm.
series be effective. Like, just as an example, Corey Kluber's Cy Young Award card in that
Jesus
pack
Christ.
is based on a single season. That's the
Um,
beauty of it. It's a
they,
single
they were
season
saying it
card.
because that of course we had the Clayton Kershaw card, and that card was god at the beginning of the year. I think he kind of started to suck because everyone learned how to hit him because he was so overused last year.
I mean, but
Um,
even when he was sucky, he was still above average.
yeah, of course. I mean, he was in everyone's rotation from day one to the day that they uninstalled the game, which
Right,
who knows? For me, that was a week ago, but
right.
whenever that happened. Um, but I that Corey Kluber is the new Clayton Kershaw, basically.
And
Um,
like the devs would know, and the devs said they thought he was even better than Kershaw, and that
mhm.
scares me. But
Well,
at
for
the
me,
same
I've never
time,
really thought Corey Kluber cards were good in the game. So again, we'll have to see. I never liked pitching with Kluber in the game, but well, when you have a reason why I love that James Paxton card, for example, is because of the different fastballs that he throws. He throws a four seam, a cutter, and a sinker. Those are three fastballs with all very different movement to them.
but
And
so does
that's
Kluber.
what Kluber's giving you. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's basically what Kluber gives you. And I've always kind of wondered why he was never really that good in MLB The Show. But I mean, now they have what's that one core called?
Um,
Outlier.
yeah. Oh
I mean,
my
if Kluber
gosh.
has that outlier clerk, dude, I mean that sinker is gonna be moving up there.
Right. But
Um,
I'm just I honestly want to get an Aroldis Chapman card day one.
oh
Throw a
God,
fastball down the
Did
middle on Legend.
they gave him a sinker, didn't they? I don't
Yeah,
know how much that's gonna move, but
that
good
thing's
lord.
gonna be ridiculous.
I mean, I personally would rather have a changeup on him, but yeah,
They
that thing's
took
gonna
out the
move.
changeup and added the sinker, but if the sinker has really nasty movement, that could work even better.
I don't know. I'd still rather have the changeup, but
I mean, again,
that's a debate for another day.
it all depends on everybody's different pitch style
hmm
too. But I'm
I want to
thinking,
see I want to see Jordan Hicks's sinker as well.
oh my gosh, right? It's just, and the other thing I noticed was it didn't just say outlier; it said outlier one. Like there's different levels for different velocities.
hmm
Like
That's interesting.
outlier one adds 2 miles per hour already, so a 95 sinker starts at 97. So Jordan Hicks would have like an outlier 5.
hmm Um, I feel like we're getting off track again, though, like we were saying. So what were we talking about? Like card series?
Right, how single
One,
year cards matter
yeah.
again.
Well, one of the reasons why I've always loved MLB The Show, and I MLB The Show 17 was the first year I always played Dynasty, so it always has a kind of special place in my heart, and I always think really highly of the game. But one of the reasons why I love 17's content so much was I felt like they had something for every kind of player. And they really tried to. 18, they didn't have that because they really only had content for the grind player. 19, they definitely improved on that. And I think 20, they improved on it even more, where you're catering to everybody. So I love 19 or 17, excuse me, because you had the programs which cater to your grind player. You had your ranked seasons in Battle Royale and Event Wars. All those cards were 99s. Um, so you could do those, or you had even just your pack guys who like to grind the market, flip cards, get tons of stubs, just straight guys that were exclusive to packs that you could get. So MLB The Show 17 favored all three of those play styles, and they had different cards for each position, all of which were viable, but different ways to acquire each of these cards that could be used at one position. And so I feel like I kind of want to return the more grind exclusive cards in a way, but also you balance that out by giving better cards to ranked seasons players. Um, I
Right.
wasn't at first. I wasn't big last year. I wasn't big on when they said you could sell the program rewards because that just kind of takes the grind out of it if you can just buy it right away. The only really the only things last year that was straight grind, I'd say, were signature series or signature teams, excuse me, and moments extreme. Those were really the only straight grinds.
Right.
Of course, team affinities, but no one used those cards late in the year. But I mean, it didn't play out too badly, but I kind of want a bit of a return to that in a way, if you know what I mean.
Right. Which I
Um,
think I'm not so sure it will be at the beginning of the year, but I think when we hit the middle of the year, when the 99s start hitting ranked seasons in BR, I
mhm,
think it's going to end up coming back to that because look at your team affinities, which are going to be extended. Look
mhm,
at your showdowns, which are going to have exclusive cards and going to be extended. Just look at everything. There's so much to grind besides online play. Look at your prestige. You can go online if you
mhm.
want to grind, and just by playing with cards, if you happen to love that card, you end up getting a better version of that card.
That is really cool, though. I'm not gonna lie, because of course we were talking about red diamonds earlier. It turned out to actually be a pretty cool thing. It wasn't what I feared, which was immortals all over again.
Right.
So I do think that's a really cool idea. Um, the first three red diamond cards, I weren't too blown away. I need to go back in the stream and actually do a side by side comparison of what stats those change and how much of a change it is. Like,
Right.
is it something that's really worth it? I mean, if I really love Todd Helton, I'm using him at first base anyway. Maybe it's something that I just rack up just by playing, you know? But
I mean, I want to
is
try
it
him
really?
because I'm more of a slappy contact guy myself.
Mm. But I want to see how the Red Diamonds play once we get into the future programs when we start getting 99s in those programs. How much are those stats going to boost Red Diamond wise?
Right. And
Um,
but here's the thing, because you're mentioning comparing how much. Just looking at the card, it appeared that the fielding stats each boosted by anywhere from 2 to 5, the speed boosted by about 2 to 5, and the hitting across the board boosted by about 5 to 10 a piece.
mhm.
Which, I mean, just for playing the guy for, let's say, a week and a half to 2 weeks of ranked seasons, if you're a ranked seasons grinder, that's an amazing upgrade. You get basically a free upgrade to the card you already
Yeah,
love just by
but
playing
I'm
with
just
him.
saying it's not something like I feel like I'd specifically grind for in ranked seasons to get that better boosted version of him. It's something that I
Right.
will get. I would just get it naturally, if you know what I mean.
Right,
Um,
which I think that was their intention because I heard them
mhm,
specifically say like, "Hey, we don't want to make these a grind. That's why they're not super juice stat wise. We want to make these to where if you have a card you just love endured death, stick him in your lineup
mhm,
every day, but eventually you feel he starts to not be as good as maybe some other options. We want a way to prolong the life of these cards for you so that you can keep using the cards that you love without having to sacrifice the stat boost."
mhm.
And I love
Um,
that. I love that.
so I have been starting to think about my choices for those programs. First inning, I feel like I might just sell that card because Duke doesn't hit lefties.
Right,
I mean, I'm sure we'll get a better version of Duke Snyder because I loved the signature series card last year.
right,
But Duke doesn't really hit lefties, and then Heldon, I feel like out of a first baseman, I want that power that he just doesn't really provide for me. I'm sure we'll get a future Todd Helton that does give me that power, but that card just doesn't really give it to me.
right.
So I was thinking Oswald. Oswald's always been a good pitcher in
I
MLB The
mean, that
Show.
prime
Doesn't have the greatest
Oswalt's
per nines, but
nasty.
he has some stuff. Um, so either that or maybe I'll just sell him because if you get that program done quickly, which I hope I can,
Right.
um, I can make some subs off that, and compare one card. If I sell them for 100K, I can maybe get a few more cheaper cards that just kind of better balance out my team early in the year. So,
Right, and I feel
um,
like the other side to that is we still have to go in and play the game and see what other options we can get. It's kind
mhm,
of depending on what exactly they decide to give us that first week.
yeah.
Because
Um,
we
so
didn't see that pick 7 middle diamond pack in the XP reward path either, which I don't know if that's the
Oh
same
yeah,
as the pre-order, if that's something different, but they really wanted to hide that.
that pick 7. It's the Clayton Kershaw pack.
Right, but that was the high diamond. There was 2 different pick 7s.
I know what you mean. I mean that's the high diamond is basically the Clayton Kershaw pack from last year, where you have
Right.
some maybe really high pitchers and then a few middle of the road hitters like an Ichiro or Alvin Trammell kind of. That's what that diamond pack basically is. It's the same thing as last year, with just different cards. But
Right.
as of right now, my first inning program choice is Roy Oswalt. If I want to improve my team more, I'll just take whoever is most expensive. I'll have to make that judgment when I get to 300 stars. For ranked seasons, I think I'm going Adley. A switch hitting catcher, man, early in the year, that's going to be good.
I mean, his
of
stats
course,
aren't
yeah,
amazing, but at the same time, those are solid
it's
for
one of
first
those.
month.
It's one of those balanced cards. You know,
It's like a
yeah,
Ben
first
Zobrist,
month,
like
I'll
we
take
were
it.
talking about
Pretty
earlier.
much.
It's a Ben
Yeah.
Zobrist catcher.
As a catcher, that's the key thing. A catcher.
A switch hitting catcher. It's unthought of.
Which you just don't find anywhere.
Right.
Catchers are so hard to find. I mean,
and that's usually
the only
limited
other-
to caps.
and I do. What pack was it in? Like the throwback pack? You know, of course, you got that 88 Gary Sanchez, one of my favorite cards from MLB The Show 17. That player of the month, Gary Sanchez.
Right.
Cool, man.
It's just
interesting to see his 17 stats carried over to where they upped it from 99 to 125. They gave him even more power, but I mean, I don't know if I want to use him at catcher. He has low vision, but I do love that idea of like the former cards, and I want to see like how far they will take that. Like, will we be getting finest cards? Will we be getting our 97 JD Martinez from MLB The Show 18? You know,
Right.
I love that card. So I'm curious to see how far they take that.
Because they only showed the first one, so that makes me wonder
Mhm.
if there's a different one each time.
I imagine there will.
But the thing that worries me about that is I'm pretty sure those were no cells. So when you pick, you can't go back and get another one.
They were no cells. You cannot sell them. Well, unless they have multiple of those in the same program where you can get all of them.
Right, but that's what I was saying. Is it the same pack each time, and there's
Or wait,
four
no,
of
no.
them?
That was in the XP program, wasn't it?
Yes.
So, I
That's
I thought it was program stars. That is interesting, actually. Maybe they'll bring more of those packs into the game, and they will work them into more programs.
I mean, they did that with like a couple of the other packs, I think. But there's just so
forgot
many
there was an
options.
XP reward. There is. And then of course we have the evolution packs, which I love the idea of those.
Right.
I know that was a thing in 16. I did not play DD in 16 as much as I hate myself for that. But I know that was a big thing of 16 where you got a rookie card. You got like a rookie A-Rod, I think, or a rookie Poppy, and you could you play with that card and then eventually just power it up in a way.
Right. It's like power-up cards in Madden.
Pretty much, yeah. Except you're actually like using the same card there. You're getting a different card in this version. In Madden, it's all the same card that you're just powering up the entire time. But I do love that idea. Of course, right now, the 4 guys aren't that great.
I'm sure they'll add more.
Those 4 guys was an XP, right?
Right.
Those 4 guys.
And you ended up always getting all 4.
Yeah, but again, that's an XP. So again, is that something that
they'll add more, or
that they'll add more in programs? Like there will be more of those, we know, but as of right now, it's only an XP. So,
right.
But I do absolutely love that idea.
I kind of think they'll add more, possibly in like Team Affinity, where you can get a card from your team.
Okay.
I may be
that
wrong
would be really
on that.
cool.
Or they could get more from moments. Like there's just those are so versatile, though.
I feel like they've just with everything that they've given us today, they've given us so many, like, they've opened themselves up to just so many things that they could do in the future. Whether they plan on doing it right now or not, maybe it comes up, but they've given themselves so many possibilities with all these collections and
different options.
Different options, Team Affinity, you know, those epics or whatever. I don't even know what they're called. I'm thinking of them as player epics from MLB 17. I don't know
Team
what
Affinities.
No, the evolution cards. What are
Right.
those missions called? Whatever they are. I'm gonna
Right.
call them player epics for now because that's what they were called in MLB 17.
Right.
But they've opened the door for them to do so much basically, and I want to see how this works out once we're getting 99 cards. How can I power up my 99 cards to make them even better? So I'm
Right.
definitely excited, man.
Right. And
And it will give guys like Peeps a run for their money in collecting every card in the game.
I honestly, I'm not sure it is possible this year.
Because, well, I know you said you wanted to collect every card in the game. Then they dropped this bombshell today, and you're like, well,
Shoot.
how can I get all these? How can I get all these Team Affinity cards? I don't have that much
I
time to
mean,
grind so much March to October.
right, because you and I were both thinking, like, well, okay, you can go in, grind out your affinities, grind out your moments, grind out your showdown, hit rank seasons, and get to work, right? That's how
Mm-hmm.
you'd think it'd be. Oh, no. No, 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 no,
Oh
no.
no.
No. You have to get practically, what, I'm guessing like 100 by the time we're done, equivalent of the team affinities from last year? 5 rounds of March to
More than that.
October.
Well, no. Oh, it's more than that.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the stars go to. It's probably at least 200, 250. So
So when
I
you
mean,
think about it,
one
those
of the
stat
one of the
grinds you were talking about are low
mhm,
key under the radar back.
yeah. And also with affinities, I feel like with Team Affinities last year, they wanted to make it where you had to play March to October to get them. But that's not exactly what happened because people realized I can finish these things in an hour and a half just by doing the exchanges and playing a few games against the CPU to get my innings.
Right.
Um, so it was like no one played March to October to get them because it was so inefficient to do that. March to October last year was just an offline mode that you did for fun, which I think the mode was cool. Because I did one on Legend with the Reds. I think it's a great way to practice to get better at the game or just have fun. I think it's a great idea for a mode, but it just never really carried into DD. So I'm wondering now, and I know they revamped the whole system. Will it be more necessary to play March to October in order to get these Team Affinity rewards? With how much deeper they go.
It depends how repeatable they make things, because here's my point on that. It's not that they will make affinities hard to get per se, but you can only collect all the cards for your collections once and exchange those.
Mm-hmm.
You can only
Well,
do. Right.
you can do the repeatable is the innings that you can do. You can grind that out. So, which is faster, doing that or doing a March to October? And again,
Right.
because March to October, of course, also rewards difficulty. So, because I'm a tryhard, I'm going to be playing out a Legend. I'm probably doing with the Reds just because I love the Reds for fun and to get rewards. Um, Innings is something you can kind of chill, just put the game on rookie and get out as fast as you can to get as many innings as you can. And you can maybe watch Netflix while you do it for fun. You do a
Right.
Legend March to October, you're going to have to be locked in, which, I mean, for a guy like me, a Legend March to October isn't hard. I could do it, but I have to just lock in for it. And sometimes I want to chill and watch my favorite show on Netflix when I grind. So
Right. But
it's you're just gonna have to find that balance.
here's I think the appeal for the better players of the show, like let's say approximately my level, a Hoff level and up. For the Hoff Legend players, um if you find that you're very, very, very good at showdowns, those showdowns I think are repeatable, possibly, because they're like BR. So you could go in, get your showdown done, and just repeat it because you get 5 vouchers. And if you pour all those into one team, that's what, like 75 to 80 stars or whatever they are? Also, look at your phone.
Hello.
Yes, hello, your mic died again.
There we go.
Did you catch all that
No,
I just said?
you cut out for me.
Huh. I
And
never
so I left the
disconnected.
chat and then I couldn't get back in. So,
Right, and you cut
the
out
last
for
thing you
me.
said was like last thing I heard you say was for Hoff and legend players like me.
Alright. So, for me, being a pretty decent Hoff player, I feel is my level at the moment, which I really hope I can hit World Series. And you, a legend, just completely balls to the wall player. Showdowns. Here's the big ticket. Are Showdowns repeatable with the same rewards and vouchers?
I'm sure they are. Oh, wait, repeatable.
Right, because if
I
they
thought you meant
are,
something else.
if those Showdowns are repeatable, those give you 5 vouchers each time you beat the final boss to put into an affinity. But the reason I think they're probably repeatable is because you go in and draft your team every time, and when you lose, you have to go in and redraft your team every time.
I'm gonna say it's like Conquest, and I'm gonna say no. But that is a good question, I will say.
I mean, I think it could go either way, but hypothetically, if it were, which I don't think it is, but if it were, people like us could just go in, do those Showdowns over and over really fast, and instantly exchange those vouchers into each team affinity one at a time and just have them maxed out just by Showdowns.
Yeah, I don't think they want that to happen is the thing, so that's why I'm gonna say no. Wait,
right.
so when you do a showdown for the AL East, do you get a voucher for all 5 AL East teams?
No, you get 5 vouchers for each team, but you can choose which team to put how many vouchers into.
Okay.
So let's say
in that instance, maybe it is repeatable.
right, because you are a fan of the Reds, so if you did the NL Central Showdown, you could pour all your vouchers into the Reds for points and not have to probably worry about not being able to do the other teams. So that's what makes me think it possibly is repeatable, because why make
now
voucher...
that you say that, I think it will be.
Because why would they make voucher exchanges that could go over and over and over? And why would they have to have you put voucher exchanges in to have your boost?
I must have missed when they said this. Because the way I thought it was you did the AL East, for example, and said you get 25 team affinity points for all 5 of those teams, and then that's it. That's the way I thought it was originally. I guess I was wrong on that.
They might have mentioned something about that. However, they had an exchange section where I could have sworn they said you get 5 vouchers, AL East vouchers, when you complete your showdown or whatever it is. You can choose to pour 1 into each team affinity, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 into one or different ones.
Okay.
So if it works like
again,
that...
I must have missed that. But in that case, yeah.
That's by far, for the good player, the quickest way to get team affinities done, and the only way I think you can stay on top of them.
I mean, we'll have to see how, like, all the options that they give us to get team affinity points. I know they said Top Snell's back, and they will, every Top Snell moment for that team will give team affinity points,
Right.
Like, what else will give points? So, in that instance, I think you've convinced me that it probably will be repeatable, but we'll have to see.
And see, that's a whole nother thing to think about. You still have Tops now and Player of the Month and events and everything else that's going to come out on top of all this.
Oh, yeah.
So I just wonder how you're going to be able to get all that done. And I'm not sure you can.
Well, I feel like they don't like guys like me and you and peeps who feel like they need to get every card in the game. I feel like they want to, like I said, cater to multiple playstyles, give everyone one option, and you get that one option only. If you know what I mean.
Right.
So, I mean, of course, we want to give our cards more money to them because we give them microtransactions, but...
Right, but at the same time, you cannot disreward people and lock people into whatever choice they make, because if it backfires for them, then you'll have an even angrier crowd.
But, I mean, yeah, it doesn't seem like they've done that whatsoever.
No. No.
They just make it hard to get everything in the game, which
Right.
I'm not against that. I feel like there should be cards that are just so incredibly hard to get. You can't get every single one of them. You
Right.
can't necessarily say choose 5 and you're done because maybe one of those cards you picked sucks and you screwed up. But they want to make it to a point where you can't get all of them.
Right. And I suppose from a business perspective, I understand that. However, from a community perspective, most people don't want that. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
not that everybody is a complete grinder like you and me, but if you give a card that is like a Pepe Alazar that's almost impossible to grind for, what's the first thing, like with Immortals, that everybody's going to do and focus directly on? Grinding for that exact card.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if you tell a little kid not to do something, what's the only thing the kid's gonna do? Do
Do
the
it.
exact thing
Um,
you told them not
well,
to.
I feel like that's why they made program rewards sellable last year, and they made so many rewards sellable because
Make
they
something
wanted to
for
give you the
everybody.
option. Yeah, they wanted to give you the option where you can get that same card, you just take different routes to get it. Um, I've again, that's kind of one of my disagreeing because I have always thought you should have a variety of cards, but each card there's only one way to get it. Um, so it does seem like this year they have given more of those one way to get cards with your evolution cards and your pink diamonds in a way, but um, like there's only one way to get those pink diamonds with your team affinities. Again, I would love to see what kind of cards are at the end of those things that they're going to release in the fall. Maybe some
Right.
99s that we're going to get. Those are grind only. I want more of those grind only cards.
Right. But I'm thinking if they release all those team affinities in the fall, that kind of sets up content just in that for the winter.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll probably spend like a month for each round of team affinities, and that's if you just focus on them. And,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Well, again, that's one of the reasons why, as much as I've trashed SDS, and I think we all have,
To some
through
degree, yes.
throughout everything these past few years, just about everything we've done. We've all disagreed with SDS and we've
But
trashed them and
that's
made fun of
that's
them and
that's
everything.
always
But
something between a
I
company
will
and
give
their
them this.
patrons, yeah.
I will give them this. They are miles better than EA. EA does not do weekly streams to tell us what is in their game.
No.
They want to tell us exactly what is happening. They don't want to trick us whatsoever. Maybe with gameplay a little bit, but we'll have to see. Um, but I feel like they really do care about the community just by doing these streams. Like that actually means way more than you could describe to a community like this doing
Right.
those streams. So we know what to expect, and we know if we want to buy that game they want. You know,
And you can
the
just
way that they interact with the community and just everything. And I feel like with content, you have the
something for
option of buying
everybody.
stubs. You have the option of buying stubs, but you have something for everybody. They give you so many ways to earn these cards without having to buy stubs for them. Well, EA just I haven't played FIFA. I know that game's horrible.
It's
2K
even worse than
butchered
Madden.
2K butchered NBA since they literally added slot machines into the game. And then Madden's really the only other sports game I've had experience with, and
Right.
it seems like you have to put money into Madden. You can grind, but I feel like it's just so outrageous the grinding.
Right.
When I
Madden's
could do
like
200
grinding.
solo challenges, I could do 200 solo challenges for this card, or I can just go buy them off the market by 200,000 coins.
Right. Madden's
That
kind of
buying them off
like
the market is just
Immortals,
easier.
except every year.
Yeah, but then again, the big thing with Madden is they have two different currencies. So even when you are buying money, the only thing you can, or even when you are putting money in the game, the only thing that money can go to is packs because they're two different currencies.
Right.
The currency you buy with money, the only currency you can buy with money, you can only use on packs. Even if you buy money in MLB The Show, if you buy stubs, you can use that on whatever you want.
Right.
I don't necessarily agree with the value because at least late in the year, 150,000 stubs doesn't really seem like much for $100.
Right. But early
But
in the year, I think it's
SDS,
going to be a lot.
mm-hmm. But I mean, that's one thing that I've always given props to SDS for. I feel like they understand their community, even though I
tend to believe they don't at times. They understand it better than EA and 2K, and I feel like they really care to at least make their game better. Well, NBA and 2K just put their game out every year, claim they make gameplay changes when in reality they don't. The only changes they make are slot machines in the game and just try to suck all the money out of 12-year-olds. So.
Right, and the other thing I've always appreciated about SDS, especially the last 2 years, is even though we've had all the gameplay problems, and I feel like this is a point that needs to be said, even though we've had all the gameplay problems that we've dissed them for and gotten frustrated with, and we had the home run derby in 18 and the line-out machine in 19, each year you can just watch a stream about a patch and tell that they may not know what the problem is, but they have put in the work to try and fix the game.
They've done something.
They've tried different things.
Yes.
They've never, like last year, they never quite hit the nail on the head, but at the same time, they went in and they tried to get the lineouts down multiple times.
And I mean, yeah, 2K's gameplay differences is they'll take something out in the game just so a few more years later they can advertise it as a new addition.
Right.
And I mean, I understand that at one point you run out of things that you can do probably, but I feel like EA doesn't even try,
Right.
They don't try to hide it because they know they have that consumer base that will just buy their game no matter what. I don't know if it's, I mean, of course, SDS isn't as big as those games. Maybe if they were bigger, maybe they try to pull a stunt like that, but I feel like EA has to kind of make their consumers happy in a way, and so they actually do try to make their game better every year. So, I've always been a person where, if I like something SDS does, I'll defend them. If I don't like it, I'll trash them. But it's been so frustrating these past 2 years with the game. And I certainly haven't been happy with them, but I feel like from at least what I've seen so far, and of course, as well, we say multiple times, content doesn't mean anything if your game sucks, gameplay wise. So,
right, but here I just want to make
all of
one
this, and I was really happy with what I saw with the gameplay stream and everything. Of course, I'm looking forward to the dev tournament, even though those guys all suck at the game.
Because that's gameplay material.
Yes, I need to see that dev tournament. I want to see how the game plays. Just everything, man. If the game plays well, I feel like everything we've seen this year, the dev streams.
I just feel like this is going to be the best
right
MLB The Show ever, by far.
Well, what do you mean by that, though? Because you have 16's gameplay, of course, and then you have 19's content. 19's content was arguably the best content ever. I tend to disagree with that. I think it's 17, but people think it's 19, which is whatever. 16's the best gameplay, so is it going to be gameplay content? Like, it's kind of hard to determine.
Well, okay.
If you know what I mean.
They've taken 19's amazing content, which everybody agreed was possibly one of the best. That and 17 were probably the best, too, I would say. Possibly 16 in that conversation, but we're not going to get into that debate today.
18's the only outlier here.
Right. So, let's say they took 19's content, which everybody agreed was good, and have expanded upon it for 20. So if they take what hitting felt like in the 20 beta without getting into details and what it looks like in the streams and what it hopefully will look like in the dev tourney, if you combine this content with that gameplay, just picture that for
the gameplay that's been advertised as of right now.
Right. And just imagine if you had all this to grind for and the perfect game to hit with and grind with. Imagine how much you would want to grind that game. It will be the most exciting MLB The Show ever, I believe.
Yeah. Well, I am certainly excited for Sunday night. I will say that.
Agreed.
Or not Sunday night, Thursday night. What's wrong with me? I wish it was tomorrow night.
They're doing it right before they release the game. Also, everybody's still debating about whether they're releasing the game Thursday at midnight or Friday at like 9.
Well, actually, I'll give you a third option, Thursday at 11. Because as of right now, if you go on the in-game timer, it has the game coming out Thursday night at 11 o'clock Eastern.
But see,
on the 12th.
Right.
I don't know if that's a glitch or a screw up. I hope that's what it is, because I love the game to come out an hour earlier, but...
I mean, I would too, but here's the thing with that, though. Last year, the timer ran out, but that was just the download timer, and there was still another. It started another timer which had a day on it.
Well, what do you mean by that? Because you can preload the game 48 hours, so we'll be able to preload the game. I'd say Tuesday at midnight. I think Tuesday
Right.
going into Wednesday at midnight. We should be able to preload the game.
Right, which that we'll find out in a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's the way that the dev stream isn't their launch stream. Thursday night at 11 o'clock, they have their dev launch stream or something. So
yeah, but I don't know. It's not that I'm upset about having it come out a day early so much as the fact that I feel like I'm going to be a day behind everybody else just because I have to take off that whole day from the show to go to work. Because I'm only
I'm
going to
trying
be
to get out of school myself, but
I know. I'm only going to be able to play probably about 5 to 6 hours night one before I'm going to have to sleep in order to not be dead in the morning. So
I
then
might just pull that all-nighter, let's be honest.
I know, but that would be very hard to go and then grind all Friday night with an all-nighter. So to go and sleep so I can then go to work, get back from work, and immediately after dinner hop on the stream, and I'm personally planning on doing an all-nighter that night, this coming Friday.
Yeah. I am a little disappointed I'm not on spring break the week it comes out. I'm on spring break the week after. So
I'm the opposite.
It's always worked out for me when MLB comes out. It's always on my spring break, but they've done it a week in advance because my spring break is always the last week of March. So I don't have that entire week to grind the game like I usually do.
Right. Neither do I. It's coming out for me the last day of spring break because my spring break is this week.
That is rough.
That is very rough. So, my problem is I can keep up with the game at least for the first chunk, but it's going to be very hard to do those late night grinds. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how much I can keep up with, because as of right now, looking at all the stuff they showed today and guesstimating how long each thing is going to take, my plan is to do, like last year they had the welcome moments, which I'm sure they'll do that again. And
speaking of moments too, I do want to just say this real quick. So I did notice moments was back. I'm curious to see how they'll do it because I feel like they already did so much last year when you had, so many moments that they did like with history. I feel like they've already done so much that they can't really repeat.
Right.
So, unless all the moments are just stuff that happened this year and Tops Now and stuff.
Right, but I think
anyway.
those new history types are going to be like in Showdown this time and condensed. And
Showdown doesn't really seem like history moments. Because so many of those moments from last year we were recreating history that happened or maybe changing it in a way.
Right.
Showdown doesn't seem like that. Showdown just seems like random challenges that they give us.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it seems like.
I don't know.
At
I
least
feel
from
like
what
it
we saw
could go
from
either
starters.
way, but I don't know. I am curious, as you just pointed out, but I don't think there will be as many moments in general this year, just because they're kind of going to be split up. Because some of the moments
they have more stuff for you to do.
Right. Some of the moments we had last year can be done in Showdown and the grinds and the affinities and the conquest and all that stuff.
Well, we've been speaking for a long time, certainly.
Yeah.
And I think I need to head out. So.
All right. Well,
it's certainly been nice talking to you. Thank you for wanting to do this.
Thank you for coming on.
Me.
But I think one thing we can all agree upon is that we are all very excited for this coming Friday.
Of course, yes.
So, anyway, thank you for coming on, my
all
dude.
Right. Thank you for having me.
I will talk to you later. I'm not sure if we're still up for voice chat tonight, but I will find that out later.
All right. Sounds good.
Right.
See you, man.
See you later. Bye-bye. Alright, so that was Like a Bus, one of the leaders of Team Young Guns. If you have not followed them, go follow at Twitter /@YoungGunsMLB. That is our team page, and we are looking to do very big things in MLB 20 with our new B team, which I am a part of for the moment, until we hit A team, hopefully this year. I personally am extremely excited for 20. You heard a lot of my excitement through there. That interview went well over an hour long, and Bus and I are two very different players, yet at the same time you can see we both have that same excitement. So, yeah, I am going to do one last video of MLB 19 where I go in my inventory, quick sell everything Thursday night, and do a massive final pack opening as a send-off to MLB 19, where I will sell everything except for the diamonds I have locked into my main team. Then we'll be doing a very long night one stream, as I said, about 5 to 6 hours. And then we will be back Friday night with at least an 8 to 12 hour stream. And after that, I don't really know. But one thing is for sure, I will be streaming and there'll be the show a lot. YouTube, I've decided with as much content's coming out and the fact I'm not going to play ranked a ton, YouTube is going to be more of a secondary thing for me this year, just so I can manage easier. Streaming is going to be the main thing with the new internet, so don't look for me so much on here, is on twitch.tv/drlightning94, but I will be a lot more active, so yeah, I'm still overwhelmed by all the stuff SDS released today, and I cannot wait to see where it takes us, so either way, thank you for watching. This is Dr. Lightning 94. Peace out, everybody. Have a good night.